My name is Caroline Taiwo. The work I do focuses on support for artists in their career development and entrepreneurial goals. The goal of these programs is to connect artists to the capital and financial support they need to make a living and a life. Our work is about lifting up artists as essential in community and working with artists to achieve more just and vibrant communities. We do that by working towards more human-centered systems. And our Personal Emergency Relief Fund is an example of that. It provides direct support to artists who are facing career-threatening emergencies. When the COVID pandemic hit in March of 2020, we saw immediately that the arts and creative sector was going to be hit hard. We were able to take our emergency relief fund and scale it up quickly. We put $20,000 of our own general operating funds into the COVID relief fund. And over the course of the next year, we were able to work with donors and foundations to raise and distribute $1.25 million to almost 2,600 artists, creative workers, and culture bearers. Our pilot focuses on artists from the Rondo and Frogtown communities, where our St. Paul office is located, and grants $500 per month for 18 months. We're excited to see what artists can do with additional financial security and safety. On behalf of Springboard, I want to thank you for recognizing our work on National Philanthropy Day.
Gosh, thank you so much for this award, for the beautiful video. My name is Laura Zabel. I'm the Executive Director of Springboard for the Arts. And I'm just really grateful for this award because it recognizes not just that we did this thing during this crisis, but how we did it, and that how we do things matters. And in that vein, I will say, the number's been mentioned a couple times that we were able to raise about $1.25 million in our emergency relief fund. What we didn't say is that we had that fund that existed before. The budget of it was $10,000 a year to 20 artists. And so a lot of people have asked me, how did you scale that so quickly? And I think the two things that I would share are first that we had it and we could look around and say, well, we have this tool that exists already. Let's invest in that, let's use that. And the second one is really the incredible staff and board and community around Springboard that had worked for years before the pandemic to really clarify and be clear about what our organizational values are, what our purpose is, and that created a kind of muscle memory that meant that when there was a crisis in our community, when the bottom literally dropped out for artists, we were able to get to work right away. And we kind of knew what to do. We knew we would need to support artists here, and we knew that we would immediately start sharing everything we learned here with our national community and hopefully be able to help other people get up and running. And that's really what happened, and that's all because of the amazing people that make Springboard. So I'm just incredibly grateful to the staff and board of Springboard. And I'll leave you with this thought. If there's a way that you want to help celebrate today and celebrate Springboard, it's support artists in your community. Support the artists that you're connected with, buy work from them, share their work online. A really easy and fun way for you to do that today is to support the artists who are in that video from True Art Speaks. They're doing a fundraising campaign right now called their Future Fund. It's really easy. I went online this morning and donated. So please do that today in honor of us. We would really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
My name is Ashley Kilcher, and I work with Make-A-Wish Minnesota, Citizen Tea, and I worked with a lot of different organizations in the past as well. Philanthropy has been a big part of my family ever since I was growing up, from playing in a band with my grandpa at old folks' homes to making crafts with my brother to sell to raise money for the Quad City floods that affected my aunt and uncle's area. It's just something that we did, and my dad always said that's just what Hartles do, is we do things when people need it. So with Make-A-Wish, it's been awesome. I've gone from being a donor to volunteering to granting wishes to chairing the gala, and now I'm on the board of directors. And it's just been such a fun experience to even work with everybody and be able to see just the ripple effects of every person that's involved.
Well, we had some big plans for our 2020 gala, as many people did. COVID changed everything. So we decided we were going to work on a wish together. And we had little Mason who wished to have a camper. And our original plan was to reveal the camper at Wish Ball, but it turned into something completely different. And here's Ashley, who thinks she just is a regular person and part of our team. And she's running around in the front yard with Mason and taking pictures herself and was just right there in the group with the rest of us. And it was amazing to have a donor so committed to even just making Mason's day that much more special.
When a lot of people think about philanthropy, they think about the big organizations, but that's not the only way to be a philanthropist. And it's a lot of fun to kind of find those smaller ways to make change.
My first experience with Ashley was coming to her store and asking her if she would be willing to sell pre-used t-shirts. And not only did she say yes, but she was willing to give 100% of what she took in to charity. She has a generosity of spirit in which she takes that everywhere she goes and gives us all opportunities as business leaders, as friends, as moms, as sisters, as community activists to just be better people.
Hello. Obviously, my name's Ashley. I want to thank you so much for being recognized with this award, and Gina from Make-A-Wish for nominating me. It was truly unexpected. I really love the theme of all the honorees and the keynote speaker today, with really just the ripple effect of all of it, and how to be a change maker in your community, and just really connecting the dots through every move that you're making. That's really how you make the bigger change. So thanks again, and yeah.
How did I get started in philanthropy? Honestly, when I started, I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I was just acting, moving on needs that I saw in my community, around me, and my grandfather said, if no one's doing it for you, if no one's done it for you, then you should be the one to do it for somebody else. And I took that to heart, and I kind of modeled so much of what I do after that. What Minnesota Artist Relief was able to do was to give people immediate help when they needed it during a time of completely uncertain chaos that was the beginning of the COVID pandemic. We were able to raise over $4,000, and it was literally just, if you're an artist and you need some money, here you go. And I think that that's a big part of what I am coming to learn that philanthropy is intentionally doing something good for your community with the only incentive is to do good for the community. Now, unlike Minnesota Artist Relief, Justice Frontline Aid isn't a money generating source. It's because of the group that we have of completely selfless and wonderful volunteers that are willing to put themselves in danger that we've been able to do as much as we have. We were able to be at the George Floyd Memorial Service. We were able to help with jail support for people, protesters who have been arrested by the police. We were able to pay for the medical bills of a young girl who was assaulted by the police officers that she had come to protest against. And the first thing she said on the table, just like this table, in the basement when we were hiding him, was that I can't afford stitches. And in that moment, it was a real wake-up call for all of us in Justice Frontline Aid to just how deep the need went. Not just the physically pulling people out of dangerous tear gas covered battle zones, but also create foundations to better empower the community going forward.
It's me from the video. I was wearing a little bit different, same guy. I want to obviously thank Justice Frontline Aid and all its volunteers, our current president, Deshaun Sanchez, for being an amazing leader, and my fiance, Sarah, for being a fantastic partner, and for my nieces, Ellie and Olivia, who just remind me that the future is smiling. And I love that. I don't got a lot. I didn't plan a whole lot. I talk for a living, but here we are. But this is really heavy. Like, and not just because it's like heavy. It's just, this represents kind of what I've been doing for the last 2 years. And I wouldn't be here holding this if it wasn't for the murder of George Floyd. I wouldn't be here holding this if it wasn't for the violence being subjected on the community. I would just be a guy. I don't have a lot of money. I didn't donate millions or anything like that. That's super cool. I came here in a used car. But I think one of the things that I could encourage everyone to do and to realize is that your time is worth something. Even if you are just showing up to a protest and putting yourself in front of someone who is injured. My back has been shot at with all the things you can think of. I know what tear gas tastes like because I was there for somebody else. There are people who have died who help people who look like me on the street in our city. And in risk of making it a real big downer tonight, I would love it if we all found an extra way to step up in these moments with these people in our communities. And maybe not just a check, because a check can't clear fast enough. It's not faster than a non-lethal round, it's not faster than a bullet. But your body, your presence, that can affect people for the rest of their lives. So I thank you for being here.
Hi, my name is John Sullivan. My involvement with the community really all started with the Children's Theater Company. And I was a young attorney working at Oppenheimer, Wolf and Donnelly, and the Children's Theater was going through a real crisis. And they invited me to come and serve on the new board of directors. One of the things I've discovered through the years is that there are just so many different ways that one can have an impact on an organization. And one of my big projects right now is working with Family Tree Clinic. We are in a facility that will be opening this fall, specifically designed for marginalized communities. And to be able to be in this space to see what we are building for the community is really quite exciting.
I feel like I've known John Sullivan forever, but I think the first thing that I remember about him is John being an incredible supporter of the performing arts and of course a supporter of the LGBTQ community. For an LGBTQ choir, it can be really difficult to find music that speaks directly to the experience of queer people. And so commissioning music is really important. Of course, I also admire John for the incredible leadership and support he gave to the fight for marriage equality here in Minnesota.
I first met John several years ago through a process of Family Tree's initial efforts to explore whether it was feasible to do a capital campaign. And one of the most inspiring takeaways for me is his profound humility in all the incredible ways he's involved in our LGBTQ community and our philanthropic sector. From sponsoring lunches for teachers who run GSAs, to advancing multi-million-dollar capital campaigns, to stewarding board governance practices in ways that are deeply enmeshed with equity and impact, John is an inspiration, and we are so fortunate to have him in our community.
So first, just a big thank you to AFB for this recognition, and a special congratulations to my fellow honorees. It's a tough act to follow. I'm privileged to do this work with all of you in our community. But amidst all of our well-deserved celebrating, I'd also like to, in addition to what Michelle challenged us with earlier, also issue another challenge to us as well. Our community has been through a great deal this past year, creating even greater divisions among us. And we have a lot of work to do to overcome this division, to create the community that we all know that we can be. I believe that our philanthropy is one way that we can begin to bring people together with different beliefs and understandings and work together towards this common goal. Perhaps one of the challenges to our philanthropic engagement should be to not only continue to do the really good, important work we are doing, but to do the work in a way that expands our circles and different points of view. And from my experience, in fact, we tend to draw kind of an exclusionary philanthropic circle around those who are like us. But the harder work is to make that circle bigger and encompass even more people. In other words, creating a bigger circle, not only for those receiving the benefits of our philanthropic efforts, but also for those who are doing the work. And perhaps most importantly, for those who only see the work from the outside. I believe we can make progress if we are willing to work side by side with those who share different beliefs, but are willing to come together to work towards building a better community. Yes, as has been referenced, this will be difficult, but it's an important challenge for all of us to focus on. So I'm going to close by again just recognizing that I'm proud to be part of a community that is willing to give of its time, talent, and resources to make this place one that is better for all. And I want to thank everyone here for whatever it is that you do to contribute to this effort. So thank you.
I'm Mallory Mitchell. I'm Resource Mobilization Director at Black Visions and a longtime volunteer with AFP Minnesota. I started as a student caller at my university in undergrad, and I loved it. I loved calling people, not knowing what was going to be on the other end of the line, learning more about the university and its history, and just connecting with people. So when I started with AFP, it was pretty male, pale, and stale, and I really wanted to kind of push things a little bit and ask questions about why aren't we paying our speakers? Why aren't we compensating people for their time and expertise? Why aren't there more fundraisers who look like me? And I really found myself being a part of some programming and events that created a more inclusive environment and made more space for fundraisers of color. With my students, I work really hard to teach them not only how to write a grant, but also to think more critically about how this entire system is set up.
She really brings community first. She has a really nuanced thinking about the way funding is allocated, what partnerships look like. When she sees something, she says something.
When Mallory was working with AFP on the board of directors, she kind of shot put the boulder halfway up the hill. Board of directors and the organization that AFP is today is a true testament to Mallory being an authentic leader, pushing people, challenging people, and really sharing knowledge and skills with the community.
Thank you all so much for this opportunity and this recognition. I feel really thankful, grateful, and this is really meaningful to me, so I appreciate it. August was 7 years since I moved here, and I've been reflecting on that lately, that I feel so lucky to have landed in Minnesota, but also to have landed with all of you, so thank you. I did prepare like something meaningful to say. This award has just been really affirming for me. I decided a few years ago that I wanted to be someone who said something when they saw something, and that wasn't always well received. There were, murmurs of she's outspoken. I took that one really personally. Or the rest. Oh, that this will hurt your career prospects, all of that stuff. But this affirms that this was the right choice, that speaking up is the right thing to do. It makes space for others, and that silence can be complicity, and I don't want to be that person. So I just want to thank you all, and I hope that this is a reminder for you as much as it is for me that saying something is always worth it. Thank you.
I'm Tommy Beavers with Pimento Jamaican Kitchen and Rum Bar, and most recently, Pimento Relief Services. I got started with Pimento Jamaican Kitchen similar to how you're sitting in your corporate job right now, and I'd miss my grandmother Baby Lou's cooking, miss my culture in Jamaica, and so I'd go home, fire up the grill, and my corporate colleagues as well as my neighbors would be over there all the time. So we decided, you know what, let's charge these suckers for this. So we took my backyard grill and a $100 tent, and and we went around the cities to various events. One of the things that we do at Pimento is because we recognize that we were created by the community, it just makes sense that we're community-centered and community-focused. And so since George Floyd was lynched in 2020, naturally we had to step up and continue to be that safe space for our community. We've held healing events throughout the cities. We've also done get out the vote campaigns in some of the lowest voting precincts in the Twin Cities. Even after Dante Wright was lynched, what we were able to do was have 11 days of direct service, direct action in Brooklyn Center, where we've been able to provide groceries and household supplies to 21,000 families just in 11 days. And to be able to secure 2,000 vaccines for our neighbors. Even though there was so much pain and despair, the community stepped up and decided that they were going to heal each other. And what I saw was like America becoming Jamaica, where we were ensuring that no one would go hungry. Even though we live here in the food capital of the world, we still have a food desert. And so to be able to feed each other and care for each other, it makes one feel like they're in Jamaica. One love to one another.
Welcome home is how we greet people at Pimento, and I feel at home here with y'all because y'all are good folks, and also because I have a good corporate philanthropy background, and so I'm around many good friends from back in the days. But what's important is that now in this world, on this side of the fence, I'm being able to see what it's like to be on the front lines with so many people in need, and to be a part of the Pimento Relief Services team. We've been able to get together with, say, 150, 200 of great organizations like Black Visions Collective, like the Children's Theater, and bring them together to where they can see themselves as instruments of liberation as well. So it's not just simply me doing my thing, it's about each and every one of you serving as instruments of liberation. If I can use jerk chicken to bring liberation to all of us, right? We all have an opportunity here. And so even though this award has my name on it, no offense, but I might etch it in a lot more names, including the folks at our table here who are part of our Pimento Relief Services Board who have made this possible. The folks at the Children's Theater table who also made this possible. We have like 2,000 names to add to this because together is how we're ensuring that we're building a model city right here in the Twin Cities, right? We're talking about liberation, we're talking about economic liberation, political liberation, and social liberation. And we're starting right here in the Twin Cities. The whole world is watching us. The whole world is watching us. And there's no better place to ensure that the world ensure that we are the best ancestors yet for the next generation. We have an opportunity here. If not here, then where? If not us, then who? See yourselves as instruments of liberation. And thank you all for recognizing not just me, but all of us who've been doing this work, all of us who've been doing this work. And so with that, I say one love and see yourselves as instruments of liberation.